and we'll go to questions.
Yeah. Finished up camp about a week ago, and for the most part, we finished up pretty healthy. I'm really most excited about that. We were able to avoid any major injuries per se, and a lot of bumps and bruises. So we spent probably the last, I would say, 7 or 8 days just trying to make sure the guys get their legs back underneath them. And then also too to kind of gear our preparations toward Wake Forest, which is the big thing. We had a really good camp. I thought, we were able to assess some positions and really identify some young players too that may be able to help us, this year upcoming. Every position group, I felt like from the transfer portal guys that we brought in the first and second session, the first portal guys, you could see them really grasp our schemes and get better. And then the second transfer portal guys getting acclimated to what we were doing this summer, and then kind of, really carving out a role for themselves. To be honest with you, this upcoming season was really good to see. So just really excited, just about time to hit somebody else. I think these guys are kind of tired of looking at one another and going against one another. So it'll be good to get in that stadium at Wake Forest in a couple of days and just kind of, embrace the opportunity to go against an opponent like that, one of the Power Four opponents in the country. And, obviously we all know with those resources and what they have and they're working with. But our guys, are not going to shy down to any kind of competition. We've talked about that a ton, and we got some guys themselves that come from programs like that, and they just kind of continue to talk to some of those guys that haven't been on that stage before about what that atmosphere on game day is going to kind of look like.
We'll open it up for questions, and if folks are not utilizing their video, if you can use the raise hand function, or if you are using your video, just raising your hand will work. Kai, we'll start with you.
Coach, what can you tell us about the state of the offensive line and how you feel about it heading into the season?
We've been able to carve out about, I would say, 6 or 7 guys we feel like are going to be in the rotation up front, which has been really good for us this upcoming summer, then going into the fall. Just the way these guys have adapted to what we want to do and the type of tempo and the kind of system that we've been able to put in. Obviously, we've had to adjust some of the things just from a standpoint of some of our installations to really benefit and really take advantage of what they do well. I've said it before, some of the things we've done in the past, we can't always do, but good and bad. Some of the things that we weren't able to do because of the skill set up front, we're going to be able to do here. But I think it's about 7 or 8 guys, give or take, that are really going to be able to help us win some football games. And I think in this nature in the beast at this point in time in college football, when you start talking about offensive line, you want to have a little bit of depth. I feel like we got a little bit of depth of some guys who come in when guys get tired throughout the game or throughout the season for that matter.
Coach, Wake named its starter a few days ago in Robbie Ashford, who spent time at two SEC schools. I'm sure you've had a chance to go back and look at the tape. What jumps out about him?
Well, you look at his resume, obviously he's played at, two premier programs in Auburn and South Carolina, but the speed and athleticism is real. He's a power forward talent, both as a quarterback and as an athlete, to be honest with you. We got to do a great job of setting the edges and doing a great job of making sure we can, tackle that guy because he's big, he's strong. And, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about like how, he's played quarterback in a high level at programs that produce high level quarterbacks. So, we got our work cut out for us.
Coach, being a heavy underdog on the road in the season opener, what does success look like for Kennesaw State on Friday?
Well, we're just looking at ourselves more than anything else. There's some things just overall from top to bottom. We have 60 plus new transfers in the building. We want to make sure we play our style and our game. We want to limit the mistakes more than anything else. Penalties and turnovers and just missed assignments. We're trying to make sure we do a great job of eliminating those things. And we'll chalk it up and look at the scoreboard at the end and kind of see where it sits. But more than anything, we're going to use this opportunity to go out there and compete and go out there and just continue to get better at the things that we need to work on against somebody that looks different than us. And if we do what we're supposed to, we feel like we'll come out on the better end of it.
Last thing from me, Coach, have you named a starting kicker yet?
We have not. We'll be naming one probably here in the next 24 hours.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Any other questions for Coach? Tony?
Hey, hey, Coach. Good afternoon. I'm wondering what you were most pleased with coming out of camp and going into preparation for the first week. What are you most pleased with that you see in your team?
I'm really pleased with how they've kind of adapted to like our schemes on both sides of the ball, all three phases really, even the special teams. We're going to have multiple guys that are starters playing on some special team unit, just them understanding the importance of how that affects and impacts a game. I think that's one of the things that I've been really impressed with these guys. They're sharp, they're smart. It's an older team in some ways as well. Some guys not only coming from outside the program, but some guys that were inside the program. So it's got a maturity to it. These guys have a little bit of a maturity that, I've been pleased with. Our coaches enjoy working with these guys day in and day out. But just the way they've attacked, just trying to learn our schemes and our systems and what coaches ask of them, we rarely make, the same mistake twice. And that's the signs of a team that, is showing some maturity. And I think if we can continue to grow in that phase every week, I think we got a chance to really shock some people and come out successful.
Now you're playing a program on Friday night that obviously has a new head coach also and going through a transition, much like yourself, at a new program. What's that been like on your end, getting guys from the portal, adapting them to the players who stayed during the coaching transition? What's that blending been like for you?
It's been fun to build it in every aspect of it, not only just from a player standpoint. You got to talk about like the support staff, the coaches, the different blends of different personalities in and out of the program on campus in the community. Like there's so many different facets of when you take over an opportunity like this that you're trying to get everybody to buy in and everybody on the same page. Obviously, the players are always one of the units that's easiest because you spend the most time around them. So they understand, they constantly hearing your voice, they hear your coaches' voices. Everybody's kind of preaching the same message. I would say if it was one word, it's been fun. It's been exciting to see these guys really kind of come together and bond. We've taken a lot of the spring and the summer, and then the fall camp is really when you kind of massage that thing even more, just to get those guys really to buy in to what you believe and what you're trying to teach. So I do think these guys, like I said, it's a mature group, and I'm really been pleased with that.
Last question I have for you, looking in preparation for Friday, your thoughts on Wake Forest running back Damon Claiborne?
He's an NFL running back. Like he's an NFL running back. He's extremely hard to tackle. He's got great balance and body control, and just looking at him and all the things he can do with the ball in his hands. And even though some of the things he can't do, I think one of the more underrated things that he does is block, pass protect too, and that's going to go a long way in his career. But we got our work cut out for us to try to tackle just him and the quarterback as well. Two dynamic people with the ball when they touch it.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Any other questions for Coach Mack?
Jump in with one more.
Yeah.
Coach, it doesn't get any easier after this week. You go to Indiana next. I know, the focus is on Wake Forest right now, but what can you take from playing back-to-back power conference opponents to open the season?
I think you can get good and bad things from obviously we're not really worried about Indiana. I haven't even started really to watch eating film on those guys, to be honest. But I think any opponent, every week you got an opportunity to grow as a football team, right? So like just in this situation itself, having an opportunity. This is the first time that we've all been on the grass together in a game situation. You're not talking about just the 60 new players. You're talking about all 76, 77, whatever, how many players we're taking on this trip, along with 10 full-time coaches. And you talk about GAs, you talk about operations. I mean, so many different people have never really worked together in this setting. And that is what's going to be important for us, to just the logistical things that go into traveling and making a football game go. And then when the ball is snapped, on national television, just making sure that everybody's on the same page. So, I think the biggest growth always comes from game one to game two. And I don't think this will be no different. Like, it'll be fun to get in the trenches with those guys on Friday night and just kind of see what we're really made of.
Nolan, did you have a question?
Yeah, just a couple here for Coach. Coach, in this day and age with the portal, and then with new staffs coming over, I mean, there's just so many different schools where there's history amongst the players and coaches. Has that changed how you prepare and
Break it
how
up
you
some.
scout for an opening?
It's kind of slow motion. Nolan. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, you got me there?
I got you now. You clear.
Okay. and how you prepare for a game, given the transfer portal, given new coaches, having been at so many different places, does that change how you scout and how you prepare for a game in 2025 compared to, maybe 2020, handful of years ago?
Yeah, I don't think so. Just the way we go about our preparation, we talk about compartmentalizing the game plan, compartmentalizing special teams as well. Just how we go about looking at the schemes and what people do. No matter where a coach is from, you're going to always kind of refer back to places he's been in the past. If he has no resume with that new team, same thing with players. You're going to look at players from their previous schools. So we may look at a guy that played Division II football. We're pulling film from those kind of places as well. But it's always kind of been that with guys that enter a program from the transfer portal or whenever they transfer. The only difference, really, to be honest with you, is that you're doing it more. It's more rigor than before. Because as opposed where in the past it may be 5 or 6 guys, now you're probably talking about triple the amount of those guys. That's why you see a lot of these support staff from personnel departments have grown because that's their job to kind of present some of that advanced scouting report to give you some insight on like what you're going to be dealing with all those new players.
How do you feel like the quarterback room grew throughout fall camp?
Really impressed and really pleased with the way that room continues to develop. Not only from the top, obviously we named Dexter Williams the starting quarterback, but also too just from the floor. Tommy came in, did a heck of a job. He had some familiarity with this system and some things that we were already doing. So, his growth, his development. Obviously, he didn't win the job, but he is a smart guy that is going to have a chance to compete. And then second, Amari. Amari took so many jumps from what he did in the spring. Just the pocket awareness, the presence in the pocket, the leadership. I mean, you talk to anybody in our building, they'll tell you his growth from the spring to really fall camp was something that we've never seen before. He's got a chance to be a really good quarterback. We're really excited about his development. And we really feel like we got 2 guys that, people trust in the building. Our players, they have trust in them and they have some leadership ability as well. But obviously Dexter won it, and we're going to ride with him, and he's excited about the opportunity to get out there on that grass again and be the starter.
On the flip side of the football, for your front seven, what growth did you see out of them in fall camp?
I would say the front defense side of the ball. Yeah, defensively, like the toughness aspect of it. Coach Bradley did a great job. Him and Coach Eastman, to be honest with you, they did a great job bringing that group together. We moved Coach Eastman to kind of that rush outside linebacker position. So they had a lot of work they had to collaborate together and work with day in and day out. And you just saw continual like the growth is not only just the older guys, but those younger guys, like I mentioned before, they're going to have a chance to compete and really help us as we move forward. And that's a compliment to the coaching, Coach Mattioli, and what that staff has done on the defense side of the ball. That second level, those linebackers, man, I tell you, it was really pleasant and it was a great surprise to see those guys all kind of come together this fall camp. We didn't really get a chance to see them very much in the spring because a lot of them were banged up. But they attacked the summer. We talked about losing weight, changing their bodies. You can see that development and that growth from everybody in that room. To be honest with you, we added one piece of the puzzle through the transfer portal. He's got great experience. He's got great athleticism, and he's going to have a chance to get in that mix. So we really like that room right now from a standpoint of experience and depth.
And lastly, Coach, college football kicked off this past weekend. Of course, you're getting ready for Wake Forest, but did you have an opportunity to catch any college games?
I did. We kind of took Saturday a little bit lighter of a day, probably about half a day on Saturday, and then kind of got a regular game week on Sunday, starting yesterday. So got a chance to, sit back and watch some football. I think the biggest thing you're always watching is you're looking for teachable moments. You're looking for things that in the first week of a season, what kind of comes up? Guys, like little things, quarterback and running back meshes or center quarterback exchange or, special team mistakes, penalties that are being more enforced this year than probably in the past. So those are little things that we address with the team on Sunday just to be aware of as we go into this first game that we're going to try to limit as many mistakes as possible in order to be successful.
Is there a specific point of emphasis that you're aware of this year for college football?
The fainting is a little bit new. from the standpoint of, if you go down when the ball is spotted, potentially being charged a timeout. That's been something. I don't know if it was in college football last year, but it sounds like it's new as they address the rules, and especially with the way we play. Sometimes, it has been an issue in the past of our opponent. But I talk about a lot of times, it kind of going back to old school Pee Wee football. If you get hurt, you got to get off the field now. So that's going to be fun to see how they address that.
Thank you, Coach Mack.
All right. If there are no other questions, thank you, Coach Mack, for your time, and thanks everyone else for joining us today. And we'll see everybody on Friday.
All right, appreciate you guys.